And in any normal presidential election cycle, the effect from celebrity endorsements is negligible at best. Usually, celebrity endorsements are rolled out strategically in coordination with whatever candidate's outreach team in an effort to sway voters that are undecided or possibly steal some less sophisticated voters that might just be down to do whatever their favorite famous person tells them is right. But this year's number of undecided or folks turned off by either party's choice of candidate is at an all-time high. Mm-hmm. So will Taylor Swift's efforts to activate her countless hordes of Swifties nationwide to show up for Kamala Harris pay off? What about the legion of butt-sniffing Aiden Ross incel acolytes? Will Trump's willingness to sit down for an off-the-cuff conversation with this popular YouTuber get a slew of young white males off the couch and into the voting booth? Who knows? It's all pandering in the grand scheme of things, and it's also the American way. But what happens when a certain celebrity's got a long resume of political activism and also represents a growing block of voters that are more focused on their initiatives moving forward than whatever candidates put out in front of them? Willie Nelson is the guy I'm talking about. The red-headed strangers had run-ins with the law over the years, the first being back in 1974 in Dallas, Texas, where he was arrested for marijuana-related offenses. Nelson found himself in legal trouble again in 2006, when he, along with several others on his tour bus, including his sister, Bobby Nelson, and their driver, was arrested after police uncovered a substantial amount of marijuana and hallucinogenic mushrooms. Then again in 2010, TMZ reported yet another incident in which Nelson was apprehended for marijuana possession after authorities discovered weed on his tour bus at a border checkpoint. Nelson has always used his misfortunes to push for legalization, and over the years, he's grown closer with the Democrats pushing forward on the issue. And just last week, he showed up in support of Dallas, Texas's ballot measure, Proposition R, aiming to decriminalize small amounts of cannabis and drafted by Democrats in deep red Texas. And then this week, he's stepped up his game on the federal level to do what he can to convince the unconvinced that Kamala Harris is the right person for the job. Sure, Willie. According to Kelly Coffee Barons at The Blast, Nelson's set to host a virtual cannabis reform event this Thursday, October 24th, to support Vice President Harris and her Democratic running partner, Tim Walz. The Zoom call is slated to feature other pro-pot celebrities like Whoopi Goldberg and Margot Price, but also politicians like Colorado Governor Jared Polis and Representative Brittany Peterson. The Nelson's reps say that the call will focus on the importance of cannabis reform in the United States. Nelson, a longtime legalization advocate, emphasizes that the support for leaders like Harris is crucial to ending federal prohibition and addressing the harm done to communities of color. His endorsement is expected to encourage support for the initiative. I personally believe anybody still claiming to be undecided at this point either not voting at all or just trolling everybody else. I really don't think that we've ever had two more different choices to run the country, and ain't nothing any celebrity says at this point is going to make me change my mind, but maybe I am in the minority. What do you guys think? Will a virtual session with Willie Nelson persuade the countless self-prescribed, non-committed pro-cannabis voters that it is time to turn the page on former snake watcher-in-chief Donald Trump and roll the dice with their future with Harris and Walz? Are there any celebrities out there with the riz to make you change your mind on such a personal thing like voting for president? I don't know. I'm Rico Lamitte, the dopest dad on the street for High 9 News, and if the answer to that last question is yes, I've got more questions for you, man. What do y'all think?
I mean, honestly, what I think is that you just went out and bought yourself like the Willie Nelson greatest hits and all. You just contributing to Willie Nelson now since he came out in favor of Kamala, aren't you, Rico? You love it. I mean, obviously cannabis is a big issue, but this is the problem with politics. Cannabis becomes the issue to get all the undecided people back on the Democrats train, because we know that that's what they're going to use to get us off our ass to vote for them. But it's not going to work. It's not going to work this time because cannabis isn't the biggest issue facing the voters this year, right? It's like it's way more. It's way deeper. There's a lot of things that people think are disgusting by the Biden and Harris administration, namely the immigration issue, and also all the wars that we're fighting on every front, where we have no money to actually fix what's wrong with our country. So I don't know if Willie's going to do it this time for the Dems, but good try, Willie.
Fair enough. I mean, I'll tell you this much. I mean, Willie Nelson's been in the news. I guess he was in the news on Friday. He's in the news today. He's obviously trying to do some type of push. But I'll tell you what. He must have dementia if he is trying to back Kamala Harris, because that is just crazy wackadoodle to me. And I don't think that an endorsement from Willie Nelson is going to push the needle anywhere for Kamala Harris.
I don't think so either. But he has been riding with the Democrats for quite some time.
I think a lot of this. I think this might be the male version of a Taylor Swift revolt.
Oh boy.
Just saying.
I mean, if we talk about how many times Willie's been arrested, like, isn't he just kind of a sitting duck? Like, you pull the car over, there's Willie Nelson in there. You're like, all right, let's
exactly. It's probable cause. Yeah, it's probable cause. You pull over a Willie Nelson turbos. Yeah.
Driving while Willie.
That's a cheat code. If you're an elderly white male with longer hair, just say you're Willie Nelson and you won't get in trouble, right?
Only if your bandana
It doesn't sound like it. It sounds like he does, in fact, get in trouble. Saman, you're on mute, bud.
Damn, that took the wind out of the sails on that joke. But I was going to say Rico's dream is just to wake up as Willie Nelson one day so he stops getting fucked with.
I'm good on that.
Man, what, Yarrow, you have any thoughts on this? Yarrow, Willie Nelson coming out endorsing Kamala Harris and campaigning for her, doing this charity concert or whatever.
Can you hear me now?
I hear you now. Yeah.
Unfortunately, I have to start the week off by totally agreeing with everything everybody said. It doesn't move the needle. He's not going to swing the swing voter. Willie being Willie, and Willie endorsing a Democrat, and Willie endorsing Harris after her recent statements around cannabis, and my continued belief that that cannabis is not that there's not a single issue voter out there that is going to have cannabis be the reason they vote one way or the other for the most part. I just don't think it does anything. And I don't think, I think within cannabis circles, Willie is incredibly relevant. And I think outside of cannabis circles, unless you're over a certain age, not so relevant. And I don't mean that in a disrespectful way, because I think the body of artistic work that he's contributed is substantial. But I don't think anybody is as they've got their little mail-in ballot, they're going all right,
what would Willie do?
Where's Willie on the? Yeah, what would Willie do? Free Willie for sure, but not what would Willie do?
All right. So we all agree that the Willie's not going to penetrate deep enough for this to matter to this election, right? I tried to hold that joke back. I really just kept myself from doing it multiple times, but it just kept appearing.
I don't know. Does he have the size of Arnold Palmer?
What do we think about the people that would vote naturally the opposite way that Willie Nelson is trying to convince them to vote? What do we think about them? Is he marginalizing those people based on his endorsement?
I think he's marginalizing his fan base right now.
I don't think so. I think they expect him to do whatever he's going to do, to be highly independent, and I don't think this. No. I don't think this changes any outcomes.
At all. Well, the only thing that's going to change the outcome is how many people want to go to Willie Nelson concerts or buy Willie Nelson merchandise in the future.
I disagree. I disagree. People don't care.
People do care.
I feel like people in the moment. How many Republicans are drinking Bud Light again now? A ton of them.
None of them.
Let's keep it a buck.
No one's drinking Bud Light, bro. No one's drinking Bud Light, bro. No one's drinking Bud Light. That's not true. Modelo is the #1 beer in America, bro. No one is drinking Bud Light.
People are drinking Bud Light. I think they're more committed to their inebriation than they were to their discrimination, and they don't really back to business as usual.
Yeah, I think people are just going to act like they're upset right now. They're going to forget about it next week, and they'll be right back to listening to it. I guarantee, all the people who made a big hubbub about Taylor Swift, they don't really care. They're just saying that for the cameras. They're saying that for the gram, and they'll get back to listening to Taylor Swift and whatever songs that she makes. Because I have no idea about any of her music.
Oh no, I will say Willie Nelson should have just stuck to his endorsement of the decriminalization vote in Dallas and just left it at that.
He's going to do what he's going to do, and these politicians are going to do what they do, keep on thinking that it's going to move the needle. But I think people, to what Saman's saying, to what Yarrow said as well, like, people don't give a shit about that anymore. Are you actually going to sign something into law that is going to push us forward? If not, like, whatever, I'll show up on a Zoom to smoke weed with Willie Nelson to say I did it and then still vote for whoever I feel is the best candidate. I do not think
it's the epitome of cultural exploitation. This is ganja exploitation. Okay, this is what era we're in, where all these people are clamoring. It's like, who can we help who can we get to help our messaging, to help whatever. It's like we need like the one American cannabis bona fide person to help that, and they pick like Willie Nelson of all people. It's like,
well,
dude.
Yeah, and they were trying to clamor to the black and brown vote, so this is a huge miss.
Yes. Yep. And yeah.
Whoever's advising Kamala Harris.
Hey man, I know more Willie Nelson songs than Taylor Swift.